You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
Premier Lesufi, thank you so much for coming through. Welcome back to 702.
Thank you so much, Madam Mitch. Are you well this morning?
I'm good. It's
I'm
good
holding
to have
on.
you.
I'm holding on.
There are a lot of issues the listeners have been raising around Gauteng.
Sure.
And I've been promising that I'm going to bring you on the radio so you can engage with them. So if you've got a question from the Premier, there's an issue you want us to address, very easy. Just send us a WhatsApp on 072 702 1702. You can make it a text, you can make it a voice note. If you want to call, 011 883 0702 is the number to dial. So, Premier, I want to start off with what transpired yesterday, because you were describing deliberate infrastructure vandalism as one of the biggest threats to service delivery. Do you think this is criminal or it's political sabotage, or is it maybe a symptom of a much deeper socio-economic frustration? So who exactly is responsible?
I characterize it as the price that we're paying for trust deficit. There are people that are taking advantage that there's a huge trust deficit between our citizens and the state. That even a water burst that is deliberately engineered by somebody, they know will not want to hunt the person that deliberately sabotaged that water pump, will immediately blame the state to say they're incompetent, they're incapable, and there are people that have taken advantage of that. If you see the caliber and the nature of vandalism, you can see it's not a person that is looking for cables or somebody that is looking for something out of these things. You can see it's people that are experienced. I mean, there are some water valves, me and you, we don't know where they are, how they're stationed, but if somebody will deliberately break that and not take anything out of that, if you check the traffic lights that are deliberately knocked down, you check the street lights, you also check the electricity network that is sabotaged. I can't speak now, they've moved to telephone network, which was something that was not attacked before, where people are deliberately now targeting telecom lines and other things. It started with the railway lines and the railway stations and that were destroyed. It's now getting deeper. But there are three areas that have been targeted now. It's water, it's electricity, and the sewer system, including the road infrastructure.
How do we fix it? Because it's not like you can have security at all of that infrastructure. It's just impractical. So what's the solution?
Well, we are relying on technology now. What we put, for example, the traffic lights, if you tamper with them, there's a signal that will be the cables as well. We're putting some signaling inside the cabling when you start to dig. We're also putting up some technology and other. But we've put up a response team jointly with the SAPS, private security companies, and other law enforcement agencies. We've requested the state security intelligence to also assist us. We passed a law that deals with scrap yards and many other things. There are limitations there, but at least there's also assisted because we can track where people are selling those things and then step backward and check who activated that. But we are also competing with our neighboring countries because some of this infrastructure that has been destroyed, it's needed in our neighboring countries and create problems. So it's the trust deficit that we need to, I was in Davidton, somebody took a mini substation. That's massive. You can't just take a mini substation. And when we wanted to know who took that mini substation, the blame was the councillors not restoring electricity. When we want to know, but someone have seen somebody either disconnecting the mini substation. So we are also suffering with transformers that people now are utilizing them for other things. But the Zamazama network has also hit us hard with our infrastructure. But the presence of the soldiers, at least now, we've pushed that back.
Yeah. What is your sense of service delivery right now in and around the province? I think you indicated that you acknowledge that service delivery appears to have regressed after the G20. Why do you think that's the case? And just generally speaking, what's your assessment of service delivery?
Well, it differs per area. The communities and areas that we know, the systems are there. We don't have major problems. But the other communities that that service delivery has regressed. For example, if we have 17 new informal settlement that will come out overnight within 2 weeks, and we've got people that derives pleasure out of that, it affects the level of service delivery, because if people invade land and establish an informal settlement, for example, you need to give them water. There must be sewer. They must refuse collection. And those people have not interacted with government to say, we are coming there. So we have to rechannel the budget, rechannel the resources. And that has been a trend. And that is why, jointly with the executive mayors, we've taken a decision from the 1st of June. We have now put up the systems that will allow us that there's no new informal settlement in Gauteng. It's a tall order, but we've resolved. And we've been working the last 3 months just to put up the necessary systems.
How are you going to avoid that, though? Because they never come to you for permission when they have to set up these informal settlements, unless you're going to, destroy their homes if they do so?
No. We've profiled the ringleaders. We know who they are. And we've also profiled the land that is normally occupied. It's the land that is public land in particular. And we've also profiled the modus operandi that they've utilized. So, as I said, it's a tall order. The 1st of June is around the corner, but we meet every week to plan and strategize so that we've got the resources. What we've done now as well, we've combined all the resources of municipalities. So you can't say we are in Mirafong, therefore my boundary ends in Mirafong. We've put Midval, Mirafong, Mfuleni, Ekurhuleni, and so on. We've put all the resources under one roof so that if there is a land invasion in one area, we can pull those resources there and stop it the way we want to. Going back on your service delivery things, that there's also the element of population. Gauteng has really seen a huge surge of population. I mean, you go to an area of Deep Sloot, you go to an area of Orange Farm, you go to an area, even your Tembisa, your Soweto and surrounding areas, the massive population. And we're also hit by unemployment. Reality is that somebody is unemployed, you can't deny them water. You can't say you're unemployed, we can't collect refuse in your house, and you can't. So you see that the demands are huge, but the revenue is starting to dwindle. And we're hit hard, unfortunately, by load shedding, where many people, because of load shedding, migrated from the electricity grid, either because it's expensive or it's unreliable, and people have gone to solar. Literally all your major shopping complex in Gauteng have migrated to solar. All your major companies, factories have migrated to solar. That's a huge revenue drop. So you need a new creative way of ensuring that you deal with that revenue drop. And houses that normally will pay for water and electricity with the solar phenomenon that has taken over, that aspect, that kind of revenue has gone down. So you have a population growth, you've got huge demand of service delivery, but your revenue base continue to dwindle. If you check the water losses, electricity losses as well, illegal connections, and people that are utilizing services without paying for them. So it's a combination of all these things that have affected service delivery. So what we said, to say we can't lament and complain forever. There are agencies that we need to establish as government, not rely on third-party service providers and institutions, because you can see, even yourself, Madimeja, that we'll fix a pothole. Well, cloud starts to gather. Even before it rains, that pothole is open. Because we've got limited service providers that must come and fix it. So we need to build the capacity of the state to do this thing as a state, not as a third party or service provider. So we've started with establishing a joint major infrastructure financing agency of the state so that we can build bulk water, bulk electricity infrastructure, bulk sewer infrastructure, and bulk road infrastructure, because we will need that. So why do you have to rely on third parties? So in our resolution with municipalities, we've established that aspect. The next one is that we know there will be potholes. We know that potholes will be the order of the day. Fortunately, the city of Tshwane and the city of Johannesburg, they've got a mine that produces this tar that we need. So we are putting an institution as well that will assist us to deal with these things. Thirdly,
so you wouldn't need to tender that?
We don't have to tender. We've got tar as government. We own it. So we just need to put systems that will allow us to deal with these things. traffic lights. I'm told to fix one traffic light, it costs a lot of money. But we know we have problem of traffic lights. So we need to build a capacity of the state that we can do these things on our own. So we're starting to build that capacity, cooperating with municipalities and deal with that, so that we can directly respond to some of these challenges that we are facing in terms of service delivery. But I'm grateful to the developers. Gauteng is taking a huge better shape from the Mall of Africa. You go to Stain City, you go to the south, you see the development that is going. It's just that unfortunately we are chasing developers because in some instances they give us the deadlines that will develop this new suburb. You put resources at that time, the funding is not correct and they can't do that. So we have to ensure that we improve and ensure that our municipalities revenue base. There's a white paper on local authority that has been produced by the minister. We met with the minister and the executive mayors yesterday. There are 3 areas that we are pushing very strong. We hopefully they will be in the final white paper, and by the beginning of next year elections, the revenue base of municipalities will be broadened so that municipalities can stand on their own. And if you can't fix that, there's nothing that is going to be resolved, regardless who wants to be a mayor and other things. We're not going to win that battle.
So the concern that many of the listeners have raised is, why is it that when we've got like events like the G20 in this province, suddenly you do find the money to fix the traffic lights, to fix the potholes? So there's service delivery. I mean, we saw it. We drive to work, and you can see the things changing. Why do we need an event of that nature? And I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't get ready for gas. That's an important international event, and we need to be ready for it. But if you can do that for that event, surely you can find ways to also, when residents are complaining, find ways to resolve that as well.
And that complaint is justified. But let me give you an example. I mean, the law enforcement agencies for that week of G20, it was 200 million, over 200 million. Just the police, because they've taken police from all over other provinces. So other provinces were not policed for Gauteng to be policed. So they took police from Mpumalanga, Northwest, Eastern Cape to come here. And it was overtime and other things. And I said to the police, if we know that we need 200 million to fight crime, because during that weekend, we didn't even have a single incident of crime, except somebody who tried to hijack a car of the police. So it's a costly exercise that sometimes it's extremely difficult to budget for it. We went on a cleanup campaign, as you said. We cleaned the entire city, and the budget was exhausted. So we need to replenish the budget so that we can sustain that. So what we are doing now, and we did the same with Live Golf. When we had golf in Stain City, we did the same model. So we said, let's identify the cost drivers. And we now know what are the cost drivers. So together with executive mayors, the COO of municipalities, we are going to start to meet bi-weekly to say, let's cut where we believe that there's no need, so that we concentrate on the maintenance. And one cut that we've taken, which pains me, but it's very important for now, to say, let's not build a new road, because you build a new road when you have not maintained the roads that we have. So let's rechannel the building of new roads for the next 2 years or so. It's a painful decision, and then do broader maintenance of the entire infrastructure across our province. So it's mainly resources. It's not that they're suddenly available because there is a certain event or incident. It's just that you pull from other resources to ensure that the incident, the event becomes successful. It's the sustenance of it, and that is why we are putting all the necessary systems that can assist us to sustain that intervention.
We're hosting the Premier of Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, this morning on the show. And I see your calls, your WhatsApps as well coming through. We'll get to them after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Minister, you spoke about the issue of maintenance.
Not yet, Minister. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Look
We're
at me,
speaking about Minister Tolashes this morning, so
Premier,
you are forgiven.
Premier, issue of maintenance of infrastructure. How much is actually being spent on maintenance? And in comparison to what Treasury recommends metros or should spend on maintenance?
It differs municipality by municipality. as a provincial government, it's a norm. 15%. That's what we provide for maintenance across all our infrastructure systems. It's not enough, but with competing demands of building new infrastructure and maintaining the old infrastructure, you get affected by that, especially our main roads. You've seen maybe if you travel at night in Gauteng now, we've taken a decision to rehabilitate our main road at night, just to bring the road infrastructure back. We're assisted by Sandral there as well. So it depends. Each municipality will allocate it according to, and I don't think there is a standard norm for all municipalities to say maintain at this level or improve at this level. So we as the provincial government, we feel that 15% is enough for us to ensure that our infrastructure is maintained.
15% of the budget.
Yeah.
And Treasury says what? So it depends on...
No, it depends on the allocation that they've given to you. It's no specific, say, Treasury say we are giving you this money and this portion must go there. No.
And then I'm seeing some messages here coming through when you were talking about the issue of housing and the decision on informal settlements.
Yeah.
And of course, the concern, as you would expect, that comes up is illegal immigrants. Yeah. Because when you go to a lot of informal settlements, you find that a lot of them are really overpopulated by illegal immigrants. When we don't have a structure in this country, or Home Affairs can't even tell us how many illegal immigrants are in the country, doesn't that then make your job difficult?
You know, and I always wish that one day we can have a formula on ensuring that South Africans understand its lack of government, that what local government can do, what provincial government should do, and what national government should do. It's a black line. I think many people believe it's one government, and therefore it affects. No, you know, the issue of foreign citizens. It's a national government and international agreements. You go to our hospitals, and people will say, "Why are you treating somebody that is not a South African, that is not documented?" And you find that there are national agreements or national guidelines that dictate how to do that. You go to our schools. People say that I want my child to go to the school, but there's another child that is not coming from our country that is in that school. And provincial government hands are tied because it's a national government.
And the constitution is clear.
Yeah, and national government sometimes, because they're not closer to these things, their policy shift or policy changes takes time. But we've pushed them. I'm glad now. If you check the white paper on immigration and the public participation and where we are now, we really believe that clarity will come. I think in the next 2-3 months, there will be clarity on all these issues. Then it will allow then provincial government and local government to. But unfortunately, those that are complaining on public platforms and other things, when the document is placed there and say participate and give your view, the information is limited. But we have used that window of opportunity, and I must be honest, where I am, I'm excited because the loopholes were 4 mainly. I come here on a family visa. I come here because we've got so many visas. I come here on a visitor visa. I come here on a work visa. I come here on a study visa. And after studying, nothing happens. I don't go back. We don't have the systems and the mechanism then to put that. That is on top of those that are coming illegally. So the white paper is now defining some of these visas and how they work and how to. So I hope South Africans will familiarize themselves with that. And that will then assist us to then deal with the issue of informal settlement. And people. You're right. I mean, I went to an informal settlement in Tswana called Merime. I mean, I was shocked at the number of people that are there that are undocumented. And what they're doing, they're now resisting us to develop that informal settlement because they know they'll not benefit. So anything that you want to do to develop and extend service delivery, they're resisting it. Because for us to give you water, must be registered. For us to give you electricity, must be registered. For us to remove refuse, must know to stand the summer. So if you don't have that information, then we are not going to be and then we are pushed back, and it creates all the service delivery challenges that we are facing because those people then illegally connect to the main grid.
So do you think it is a ticking time bomb, though? I mean, you saw the protests yesterday.
It is. I mean, they're coming to my office today. They're marching to my office today.
So South Africans are really clearly there.
And I share their sentiments. I share. As I said, if we know whose mandate it is to deal with these issues, I think it will make it easier for people to understand how to tackle it. But if we don't understand whose mandate it is, it creates problems. Because somebody will think that is the MEC for education that is allowing people that are not supposed to be in the classroom. Or someone will think that is the MEC for health. It's not. Our hands are tied. And someone will say the Premier of Gauteng is allowing people that are not supposed to work in our schools to work in our schools. So we can't. So then I'm saying that the posture that we've taken on the white paper, we've invested in it. We got legal minds. We compared with other visa regime of other countries as a province, because we are the hardest hit as a province, because everyone wants to come to Johannesburg for jobs and other things. So we've made our own representation, and we think that if the white paper on immigration is passed the way it is now, I think we'll be in a position to arrest this particular matter.
Premier, another issue that I wanted us to touch on is around your decision to appoint Mr. Dunga as the finance MEC, because the listeners called in a lot about them. How is that going so far? And did you ever have a conversation with the mayor of Ekurhuleni? Because he had said he fired Dunga for non-performance, and then he reappears in Gauteng as a finance MEC.
Let me start there, Clement, because I, in my other capacity, I'm the provincial chair of the ANC. So all this coalition discussions, I've been deeply involved in the establishment, in the management of differences and other things. And my understanding that in Ekurhuleni it was personality clashes. It was not necessarily issues of work-related and other things. There might be some element in terms of the issue related to billing and some ICT glitches, but we had two leaders that couldn't work together. And I felt that it's something that one can handle at the level that I'm, and it has been going very well. I mean, MEC Dunga consult, we work together, we interact. But let me tell you something that South Africans that they didn't know what was going to happen if we didn't take the decision that we have taken. We passed. We tabled an adjustment budget, Major, and all major political parties, because we run a minority government, so you rely on negotiations, which is another skill that you have to be patient with. So you go to MK Party and say, is there something that you think we should include here, and you'll be in a position to support us? And they just refuse even to look at the budget. You go to DA and say, is there something that we think that we can work on? And the DA says, no, we want to be in the opposition. We don't want even to have discussions with you. You go to EFF and they say, yes, no, we can. If concretely you put something on the table, and we do that. The failure to pass the budget on that day, Clement, it meant that we would have a catastrophe taking place in our province. We could not pay salaries of teachers, can't pay salaries of doctors, nurses, food in hospital could not be bought, and other things. And that some people want that to happen first to realize that is a catastrophe. And as a leader, you don't have to. And that is why I felt that if the EFF is willing to come on board and is willing to assist us to pass the budget, why not? End up bringing almost 11 voters, 11 people that can vote. And we've got political parties that have one seat, say Rise Mzansi. They've got one seat and we've given them an MEC. We've got people that have 11 seats. And you don't want to give them an MEC because you've got some negative attitude against that. It does not work that way in coalition politics. So we brought them, we've stabilized, we're working together, the budget was passed, we gave them finance, because one thing that destabilizes government is budget passing. So if you lead a budget process, there's no way that you can vote against it because you have led it. And that's the reason that we gave them that portfolio, so that we know permanently for the next 3 years, we don't have instability in provincial government, so that we can concentrate on service delivery related matters. And so far so good. I mean, we consult, we work together, and I'm quite excited that we've taken that decision, regardless of the doomsayers, what they're saying.
After the 3 years, though, how confident are you that you'd be able, as the ANC, to get the majority again? Given how South Africans feel, I mean, you know that, how they feel, their attitude towards the organization. In fact, you don't need to see it now. You look at the results from the last elections, you see how that dramatic decline in support just shows you that people are clearly not happy. So how confident are you that after 3 years, it's a possibility. Or will we even ever return to majority party politics, or coalitions is the way to go going forward?
I think we will, but it's not going to be an easy road. Coalitions are here to stay for quite some time. So it's the ability, the capacity and the skill and the talent to manage them. And that's what they've done in Gauteng. And we really believe that we've managed to balance the equation across. We're the only province that have negotiated coalition across sectors of government, provincial government and local government, and interlocal government, so that what we have negotiated in Ekurhuleni, we can sustain it in Johannesburg, we can sustain it in Tshwane. You can see the coalition in Tshwane with the leadership of Action SA. It was deliberate. It was the ANC. Said, no, let's have another party to run. And in Johannesburg, we gave to other parties, what they did. So we had to reclaim it. Similarly in Ekurhuleni. So it's the capability to deal with these issues. But I want to go back to our issue to say, will the African National Congress continue to rise? I'm glad some of the issues that are coming, because the standard in which South Africans were judging the African National Congress, at some stage, I felt that two different standards, where the African National Congress is judged in this particular fashion and other political parties are judged differently. And in the process, the ANC suffered a lot. Let's take the textbook scandal that is with basic education. What is the minister saying? Ministers are not involved in tender processes. And when the ANC was saying that, people said, no. If it's Tembisa hospital scandal.
Or the fumigation scandal.
Or the fumigation scandal, where when I was the MEC, they said, no. You are the ultimate. You take responsibility. The buck stops with me. Yeah. And we suffered a lot out of that. And many other things where you find, and I'm glad with some of the revelations that are coming from the Matlanga Commission, you can see it's the administrative machinery that has been manipulated. But who pays the ultimate price is the political head and the political party. The second one, there's something called the Ministerial Handbook. Maybe you've heard about it. The Ministerial Handbook is very clear. And some political parties, when they were in opposition, they said that the Ministerial Handbook provides luxuries to ministers. And the Ministerial Handbook says, when you accept to be a minister, you can't get any form of remuneration outside. So you can't be employed or get any remuneration. When Democratic Alliance came into to be ministers, what did they happen? They topped up the salaries of their ministers. And me and you, we knew that this thing, we called it gravy train, ministers and Lord and other things. But why would a political party top the salaries of their ministers when they became ministers in office? You look at the former Minister of Environment. So I can go on and on and on, that the price the African National Congress has paid on perceived corruption and the misunderstanding of the roles of those that are ministers, DGs, and ordinary people, it has harmed the brand of the African National Congress. Yeah. And this era will assist us to ensure that South Africans understand that there must be no double standards. The same standard that you treat a certain political party should be the same standard. You take that artificial intelligence policy formulation. If it wasn't a minister, and I was excited when I listened to you on Minister Dolashe, you demand accountability, and that's correct. But if a minister take an artificial thing that he signed off, that the DG signed off, and probably they didn't read it, and deposit it in the public space when they've not read it or cross-referenced it, it's a massive scandal. But you say it's not the minister, it's the DG or it's the bureaucrats that develop that.
You shift the blame.
You shift the blame.
Yeah.
And you take, let me take the last one. Yeah. The same thing of textbook. The officials in education gave us the highest pass mark. You didn't say it's cadre deployment. The last matric results was the largest or the biggest or the highest that we've achieved. Did you say it's the people that were working there is cadre deployment? You didn't. But when there is a scandal, you say, no, the minister is clear that there were cadres that are still there.
Yeah.
So that aspect, if South Africans can understand it, I really believe they will be in a position to know that there's only one strong formation that can pull. There's one strong formation that can take South Africa to the next level. And that formation is the African National Congress. So and it does not mean it does not have limitations or challenges itself.
Yeah, and I want to say, Premier, all the scandals you've mentioned, we've actually I've spoken to, well, couldn't speak to Severe yesterday, but Mandy Wiener was asking her questions about it. But I mean, we've held the Democratic Alliance for the very same scandals that you've spoken about. I've spoken about it on the show many times. But I suppose my concern is when you say the perceived corruption in the African National Congress. Why do you say it's perceived? Because it's not. We've seen many cases where cadres of the ANC are getting themselves involved in corruption scandals. So it's not a perception, it's something that does exist.
I'm saying perceived because I've been in structures of the African National Congress. I serve in the National Executive Committee of the ANC. I serve in the Provincial Executive of the ANC. I've been in the regional structures of the ANC. Actually, I've been in the ANC 80% of my life. I've never seen an agenda in the ANC that promotes corruption. I've never seen an agenda in an ANC meeting that say protect this minister. I've seen the opposite, to say, when you do something, you must step aside. When you do something, you must face the consequences and come back later.
But
where's Malusi
happen?
Kikaba? It does. Where's Malusi Kikaba now? It's not even in the NEC.
He's at Lutuli House.
It's not at Lutuli House. No, it's not.
Malusi?
Yes.
I've interviewed him a few months ago.
But
He
as I'm
works at
speaking to
Lutuli
you
House.
now, when he appeared in court, we relieved him his responsibilities, the National Executive Committee of the ANC and in Lutuli House. I can go on, including Zizi Kota. He lost the ministerial position when there was issues of corruption. So the capacity of the African National Congress to act, people might say it's slow, but it does happen. I mean, there is a former premier in Northern Cape that has been in prison, I don't know for how many years.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only example we often run to.
No, it's not only it's not only example that we had. We had the National Commissioner who was the leadership of the yes. I can go on and on and on, and many people that are in prison.
But then you still serve Abuzweli Mkhize, chair in Parliament.
No, was relieved as a minister.
Yeah, well, he wasn't. He actually resigned. The
No,
president
he didn't.
failed to act.
No. He was relieved as a minister.
He resigned.
But he was given an option by the president.
Well, we don't know that.
Yes.
All we know is the president just decided to.
But the
wait
fact
for him
is,
to
he didn't
resign.
continue to be a minister.
And then
That's
the
the
ANC
fact,
said to him, "Come, chair a committee in Parliament." So,
On
the
the basis-
president acts. The state president says, then leave. But the ANC says you're good enough to still be the chair of a committee in
No,
Parliament.
you're getting it wrong, because to be a minister, you have to be deployed by the ANC. So it's both responsibilities of the African National Congress.
But why can't the ANC
My
say
worry
you can't be
is,
chair?
Clement, is that ordinary South Africans, and that's the double standard that I'm speaking about. Ordinary South Africans that can do bad. There's this guy called Prince Mashili. He took 25 million in a manner that he refused.
I held him accountable.
No, you can, but not everyone. What did you do as the media houses? You gave him a second chance. We're interviewing him now in various platforms. You didn't say you did this, that's the end. But the same rule does not apply to those that are associated with the African National Congress. I'm giving an example of to say, indeed, Minister, you have not been found guilty, you have not been in court, there is no judgment against you, but we really believe the moral standards does not hold.
Yeah.
That is why we are not bringing you as a minister.
But also to
Start
be
your
fair,
life
Prince
and be a
Mashele's is
chair.
not public funding, so there's more responsibility when it's our money as taxpayers.
Exactly
right?
my point, to say the fight against corruption, it must not have eyes. And the fight against corruption must not have ideology. If all of us say corruption is wrong, even if it's the editor of the Sunday Times, it's corruption is wrong, it must be
Absolutely.
condemned.
Yeah.
But that aspect is not utilized for the leadership of the African nation. In some instances, not always, I don't want to be general. In some instances, it's not utilized in that particular fashion, purely because, and I accept that, the standards that people are having against public representatives should be
Higher.
and should be maintained.
Yeah.
But it should not change on the basis of which political party or which minister is affected.
Yes.
Because if you do that, then the fight against corruption will be defeated.
Let's go back to your calls now. Jacob, you are in Chawelo. What do you want to say? Good morning. Quickly, please.
Yes, Mr. Panyaza, how are you?
Kitloba Shapu Jacob, wena?
Mr. Panyaza. Mr. Panyaza, we are having a challenge, a big challenge at Chawelo Station 1 and Station 2 about the tavern, Mr. Panyaza. We
About?
can't sleep.
Taverns.
Oh,
So the mushrooming of taverns.
Yes, and you know the worst part about the music that plays there. We can't sleep. We need to put cotton wool on our ears for us, Mr. Panyaza. Can you please help us? Because the people that are coming there, they drive cars. And you can't access your gate.
They park on the front of your gate.
Everywhere, Mr. Panyaza.
Okay. No, got it. I got it, Jacob. I'll get the Premier to respond to that. Katlego, you are in Hoodmead. What do you want to say?
Okay, thank you. Monghadi Panyaza, I've got a very quick question on the following. I think when you started the discussion with Clement, you highlighted the fact that your hands are tied, you've got a certain mandate, but Treasury only allocates you a certain portion. So my question then becomes, you have constitutional mandates to the people of Gauteng. You're supposed to get Metsi to Enadale. You're supposed to get education to Batubako, Krugersdorp. You're supposed to do various other things. At which point do you challenge Treasury? Because I think this is, your hands being tied is to an extent because you do not challenge this equitable share that you are given. You highlighted revenue constraints, but when do you challenge Treasury? To say, honestly speaking, Hayalegana.
Okay.
Got you. Katlego in Woodmead, thank you. Let's take these 2 voice notes as well before you respond, Premier.
Hi, Clement. Thank you for having Panyaza Lesufi on. Panyaza speaks about infrastructure that has been damaged by people. Yes, we can blame the state. And I think it's important to blame the state because they are not securing the infrastructure adequately. If they were securing the infrastructure adequately, people wouldn't be able to vandalize it. So, yeah, I think he's got his story a bit mixed up. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, Clement and the Premier. My name is Mike from Ivory Park. I just want to ask the Premier, what are his plans about illegal land grabs in and around Ivory Park? I'm sure he knows the place I'm talking about, Rubber Ridge. One of the pieces of land was even named after him. So the second thing is the unfinished swimming pool complex in Ivory Park. That place has been ongoing for like more than 15 years. A simple swimming pool complex. I don't know what's going on there. Can the Premier please clarify these matters, please? Thank you.
Sure. Last one.
Greetings, Clement and the Premier there. Clement, can you please ask the Premier to address the issue of the Gauteng traffic wardens? Give us a report of what's happening, what's going to happen. What are the chances of these people being permanently absorbed? Is there money for this? Can this happen? And what about the suggestion of Dunga of them becoming security, etc.? Can we please get a full report on the crime prevention wardens? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Premier, a few questions there. We've got 2 minutes, so let's try to rush them through. So Jacob asked about the taverns.
Well, I'll follow it up because every tavern have a license, and part of the license requirement is that the communities around must make an input. So if the requirements have not been fulfilled, we can just easily terminate that license. But I don't want to do that until I know what are the license requirements. So we'll ask our team to go there. I think I will raise the issue of whether we are confronting treasury. I want to give you an example. You remember something called e-tolls? People are not paying. And we're paying what? Interest on the loan. And the interest was going to be more than what the loan was about. And we went to Treasury and said, Treasury, but these roads are not used by Gauteng people alone. When other people that come from other provinces come here, we can't stop them, but the charges are for Gauteng people. So we confronted Treasury, and I'm glad today e-tolls are not there. So we do. We also fought the last financial year to say the numbers in terms of Stats SA and the reality in our hospitals, in our schools, because we get the budget on the basis of the figures that Stats SA have issued. But reality on the ground is different. So we do, Katlego, I can assure you, we do make this a fight and we work on these things. I think there's a voice note that the infrastructure, we should blame government because the infrastructure is not protected.
Secured.
Some of the infrastructure when it was built, you check the power lines, you check were built at that time, there was no knowledge and intention that we'll have this kind of vandalism. They were built openly. I mean, you check electricity power station. They're just in the middle of nowhere. So for us to make protection of all of them, it's extremely difficult. Now that we know there are people that are hell-bent to destroy them, indeed, we are now starting to protect them, trying to find a way of protecting them. Mike raised the illegal land grab. I indicated from the 1st of June, we are putting necessary system that we stop this. We've profiled people that are dealt. You'll see there'll be a lot of arrest of those people. Because if you arrest the kingpins that are making money out of, I was in Hammanskraal. There was one informal settlement with around 5,000 households. They say they pay 300 rand every month to this check lot. So you can imagine 5,000 times 300 every month. How much is an alternative government? So we'll deal with this particular. The wardens indeed will make a proper announcement. They are now regularized. They're in training.
Training is done.
They're in training. There are 3 areas that we're interested. We're going to use them for anti-land grabs. They're also going to be utilized for security services. They're utilized for sporting events. They're also going to be utilized to assist us to fight people that are grabbing cell phones of people in either when they go to railway station or taxi rank and other things. But we'll make an announcement after we've done. We're preparing them for major training. Our view is that in the long term, they will be absorbed within government.
All right, Premier, thank you so much for popping.
Thanks for your time, and thanks. I know the time was not enough. But
yeah, and this one, give me an extra 5 minutes.
And you know the button that you need to press. Unfortunately, other engagement.
But you have to run, but we'll bring you back next time.
I missed to open a water reservoir so that I can be with you. Let me go and join them. Otherwise, the minister will think that I'm not grateful that they supported us to have that water reservoir.
No, we appreciate you coming.
Thanks for the time, and thanks for our listeners as well. I really appreciate that.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.